Hi, I'm Caleb Giddings from Gun Nuts Media, and in today's video, we are going to review a gun I already like. I know I'm going to like it at the end of this review, but I hadn't run it through my actual review protocol of shooting it for standards, shooting it for scores. So what are we reviewing today? We are reviewing the Beretta Model 84, also known as the Beretta Cheetah. What is the Beretta Cheetah? Well, it has, like many Berettas, an interesting history. So this is the Cheetah. It is the Model 84, obviously. There's a couple other models that are like this. The 84 is the double stack 380, which holds 13 rounds of 380 ACP and is a little smaller than a Glock 19. Like a lot of Berettas, it does kind of have a weird history. This is what passed for a service pistol in many parts of Europe as recently as the 1980s. And that was actually what it was originally designed for, was a police and law enforcement handgun in the European market. Beretta occasionally, sporadically imports it to the United States. As of right now, it's semi-officially discontinued, although it was also semi-officially discontinued like 6 years ago, but new ones popped up, so it's confusing. Right now, it's officially sort of discontinued. But anyway, occasionally new batches of them will pop up here in the States. They're usually about $600, $700, $800 because they are made in Italy in that kind of old school tradition. There's not as much mass production that goes on with one of these as goes on with the M9 or the 92 FS. Some of the interesting features of this gun, like I said, it was designed as a service pistol, all right? It caught on for a little while in the late 80s and early 90s in the United States as a carry gun, an off-duty gun for cops who were being issued the 92 series, largely because it has a fairly similar manual of arms. It's traditionally double action, single action, so the first shot is DA and all the subsequent shots are SA. Now, unlike the 92, because it was designed as a service pistol, it has a magazine disconnect safety, which, as I've discussed in other videos, is not a feature I like at all. The other thing that it has that the 92 doesn't have that I do like is it has this thumb safety right here. You flick it up to put it on, and you flick it down to turn it off. It acts also as a decocker. So unfortunately, this pistol cannot be carried cocked and locked. If I go to activate the thumb safety, it decocks the pistol. Now you notice the hammer there falls to half cock. Another strange feature on this gun, and that's because this doesn't have the same sort of trigger disconnect safety that the 92 has. Now to safely put the hammer to the fully decocked position, you can take your thumb and you pull it back a little bit when it's on fire, and you'll hear that click, and then you'll let it go forward. When the trigger is fully forward like this, it can't contact the firing pin when you do that, so that's a safe thing to do. And you'll notice in the shooting portion of this video that my decock is decock the gun, put it back on fire, and then drop that hammer the rest of the way down. So that is how you safely decock this pistol. Other features, it has crappy sights. They're even worse than the factory sights on the 92. It's extremely reliable because of the open top slide. Some of the problems that you frequently get in 380s are not present in this gun. The mainspring is actually part of the recoil system, as it helps retard the rearward movement of the slide. So if you do the Caleb Giddings Ghetto mod, which I'll talk about later, and replace the mainspring in this gun, it means you're going to need to also replace the recoil spring like every 500 rounds, which could be a problem if these recoil springs start getting hard to find. But as of right now, they're not. All right, so other features on this gun, like I said, double stack. They made a single stack version, which was just as wide, so that's kind of weird. They also made a 32, which is super awesome, and I kind of want one. And it's kind of like a little mini 92, except for the thumb safety. Anyway, enough of all that. Let's go shoot the Gabe White standards with it. 210. Immediate incapacitation. $180. Failure drill. $188. Let's go look at the hits. And that's in, so it's clean. Clean Gabe White standards. Oh no, I have one left. Silly Caleb. We just have to do the double failure drill. Man, why'd I get out of bed this morning? All right, so this is 4 body, 2 head. Here we go. Double failure drill. All right, now we're done. Let's go look. Oh, that was a 266, so pretty quick. And it's clean. That's a clean Gabe White standards, admittedly from the low ready. Back to the studio. All right, the Gabe White standards there, a triumph. Easily my best runs on the Gabe White standards from the low ready position since I started using them as a reviewing criteria. 2 reasons for that. This gun is big for a 380. Like I said, it's a little bit smaller than a Glock 19, and when fully loaded, weighs almost as much as a Glock 19. So it is a big, heavy gun, relatively speaking, shooting a little tiny cartridge in 380. It's really easy to shoot well. And the ghetto trigger mod that I talked about is I replaced the Beretta mainspring with a hammer spring from a gun that's not designed for this gun. And I'm not going to go into any more detail than that because I don't want you guys to do this to your guns and void the warranty and break them, all right? I own this gun. Beretta didn't send it to me for review or anything like that. So when it breaks, it's my own fault for screwing with it. But I replaced the mainspring in this gun with a mainspring from another gun that isn't designed for this gun, but they're exactly the same in length and diameter, and I just put one in that was of a much lower poundage. Now, the result of that is the original trigger pull on this gun was considerable. It was probably 14, 15 pounds, and the reason I'm looking around is, yes, I do have my trigger pull gauge right here. So the original double action trigger pull on this gun was ridiculous. It was so heavy, 14, 15 pounds. On this gun now, if I pull it using really efficient geometry, it's at 6.5 pounds. I could probably get that. It's probably closer to actually 8 if I don't pull straight from the lever point, but still 8 pounds on a 380 is pretty good. And then the single action is 4 pounds. So I've gone from a double action 14 and a single action 5.5 to a single action 8 and a double action 4. That's ridiculous, and it makes this gun very easy to shoot. The thing that is a limb fact on this gun is absolutely the sights. They're there, they're usable, they're tiny. So when I'm doing something like transitioning from rapid body shots at 7 yards where I can kind of point shoot my way out of it to a headshot or a partial, I've got to slow down real hard to pick up that front sight and break a clean shot. All right, now we're going to shoot the IDPA 5x5 drill. This gun is slightly too big to be legal for the bug division, which is a real bummer because, oh my God, if it was, you would junk everyone. Anyway, slightly too big for bug division, but those are the standards that I'm going to be using for the IDPA 5x5. $230. 443. Five. Nope, not that one. This one does. 5 reload 5. This should be interesting. Hmm. 748. Last but not least, 4 to the body, 1 to the head. And 311. Let's go look at the hits. And it's clean. This little gun can shoot. As you can see, IDPA 5x5 drill, shot it very well. If you add up all the times, easily would have made master in bug using this. Like, even if you add in a 1.5 seconds for the draw on each of those ones where I have to draw, would have crushed the classifier to get into bug master division. No question about it. Yeah, obviously this is a big old cheater gun for bug division, and it's hilariously easy to shoot. The one complaint that I do have is because it's so small and because of where the slide rides, you see where my thumb is positioned right here? I want to rest my thumb naturally on top of the grip safety, the thumb safety, right? Resting my thumb right there will cause the slide to eat a big chunk out of my thumb. So what I have to do is take a slightly unnatural grip and put my thumb out here on top of my support hand to keep my thumb from getting turned into a bloody hamburger. All right, last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna shoot a group. BRB, go into the range. That was real high. That's interesting. Weird. Okay, so the first shot, the double action shot, was just unbelievably high compared to the rest of them. Let's go look. So here are my remaining 4 shots. There's 2 in that hole, 2 right there, and then there's that DA shot. So I'm gonna actually do that again. I've got another mag on me, but I wanna replicate that and see if it happens again. Maybe that was just a bad bullet, because that was unusual. I don't want to ding the gun for something that isn't its fault. Okay, that's more like it. That first DA shot that I hand loaded went straight into the same cluster as the other ones. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that that first round out of the gun was just, it had bad spice in it and it wasn't the gun. Yeah, all of these are going in the same neighborhood now. See, I'll go show you, let's look. Those extra 3 rounds opened up my group a little bit, but nothing like that. When you have something like that happen, it is sometimes the bullet. It's not the shooter, because my sights look good, my trigger press was good, and I want to eliminate that it's the gun doing that, and by doing that, I shoot again. So I had a single bad bullet in the mag. That's okay. It happens. This little gun can shoot. This little gun can shoot. And this is one of the neat things about reviewing a lot of guns from Beretta, which I do because I like Berettas and I have a very good working relationship with Beretta, is it's easy to review Berettas because they're good. You know, could you imagine like being a guy who reviews guns like Kel-Tecs and SCCYs and Tauruses? God, that would just be like, wouldn't you just want to pound a nail through your hand after a while? The nice thing about reviewing quality guns from reputable manufacturers like Beretta and Smith & Wesson and some of the upcoming videos that we have is that my guns work, and that's cool. I like it when my guns work. Anyway, this gun's actually really accurate, and I think you guys noticed when we did the group shooting, that first round was a huge flyer, and I know how to do something that's called calling my shots, all right? When that shot broke, my sights were where they were supposed to be. I didn't do anything to the trigger to make them go somewhere they weren't supposed to be, certainly not 4.5 inches high on the target. So what I want to do in a situation like that, especially if I have one weird mechanical flyer and then a good group down here, is I'm going to keep shooting. And I want to eliminate that round to make sure it's not an issue with the gun. Like, is the gun throwing the first round that you manually cycle? Or was it, as it was in this case, a bad bullet? And we have to remember this. Bad bullets happen, all right? Most of the time, if somebody says, oh, it was the ammo, they just suck at shooting. However, I feel like you guys have seen enough videos of me shooting pretty good groups with these guns to realize that if I say it's just the ammo, it probably actually is the ammo. And that was why I shot more, shot in the same mode of hand cycling around, shooting at double action to make sure that it wasn't, in fact, the gun and that it was the ammo. The ammo I was using for that was, by the way, Winchester PDX-1 Defender, which I was sort of surprised that they had a crappily loaded round in there. Again, this is not a knock on Winchester. Bad rounds happen to everybody, even reputable manufacturers. It just had some bad luck. So let's go over the key points of the Beretta. Really good trigger once you do a mod to it, which I'm not going to tell you how to do. I know that's kind of a dick move, but sorry. Sucky sights. There's a fix for that, which I'm going to have this gun set off to do. Great safety. Phenomenal safety. I love the thumb safety. I love that it's a decocker. I can do all sorts of stuff. If you want to carry this gun in a super turbo safe mode with the hammer down in DA with the safety on, you can. And then it's like shooting a double action 380 1911, which is, I know, heresy, but super dope. Anyway, it's a great little gun. It's a bummer that it's sort of hard to get in the States and that it's kind of sort of discontinued and maybe not discontinued. But anyway, that's not the point. Last thing I do want to say is I do actually carry this gun fairly regularly. And to do that, I use a holster manufactured by Beretta. It's a leather holster. It can be set up with this, with the clips, pivoted for traditional behind the hip carry, or like I prefer it straight up and down vertical for AIWB, which is where I usually carry this gun. This holster, last time I looked, is available on Beretta's website, so search for Beretta 84 holster and this guy should come up. I even think they have a left-handed version available, but don't quote me on that. The Cheetah is a really neat gun. It's an interesting gun, especially when you think about its history in Italy and in Europe as a service pistol. It's laughable now, looking at the guns that we have as service pistols, to think that a little baby 380 that held 13 plus 1 rounds was considered acceptable as a service gun. And yet, back in the day, it was. All I can tell you is that if you have a 92 or an M9 as an issued gun and you want to carry something with a similar manual of arms that's lighter, holds a similar number of BBs, and is really easy to shoot, see if you can find one of these guys. They're pretty freaking good. I obviously like this one. I'm Caleb Giddings. Thanks for watching. Until next time, run your gun, not your mouth.